Hello everyone, today we will be talking about price discrimination. So what is it? Essentially, it's the action of charging consumers different prices or amounts depending on their elasticity of demand, or essentially their willingness to pay. So if someone is less elastic, that means they have a lower willingness to pay. And if they are more elastic, that means they have a high willingness to pay, so they get charged a higher price. And so how do firms do this? First, they have to have a monopoly or the power to be able to do this. Two, they have to be able to identify the different groups they're going to separate their consumers into. And three, they're going to have to be able to measure the elasticity of these groups or their willingness to pay. So there's three types of price discrimination. Firstly, we have third-degree price discrimination, and this is where firms divide their consumers into different groups in which they can make them pay different prices. So essentially, if you buy a plane ticket a few months prior to a flight versus a couple days before the flight, the firm knows that when you're buying a flight a couple days before the flight, it's pretty urgent, so you're more willing to pay a higher price, so you're less elastic on price, and they would put you into the group that is willing to pay more and charge you more. We have second-degree price discrimination, and so this is where people pay different prices for different quantities of the same either service or product. And we have first-degree price discrimination, and this is called perfect price discrimination. And essentially, it divides people into groups all along the demand curve. So essentially, every individual is their own group, and firms are able to make you pay the maximum price you're willing to pay. So we'll get into some examples to really nail it down. So firstly, a third-degree price discrimination example. We have local versus tourist pricing at attractions. Tourist pricing is obviously going to be a lot more expensive than local pricing because people have a low elasticity of demand, so they're way more willing to pay more prices. Versus locals, they can just go do something else, as it's their town. They know what they want to do. We have a second-degree example, where Costco. We have imagine an enormous bulk bag of chips that costs $5 versus a small gas station bag of chips that also costs $5. So really, it allows consumers to put themselves in a group, and this will cause price discrimination. So Costco will be cheaper for those willing and able to pay the bulk prices versus those stuck at a gas station wanting a bag of chips. And for a first-degree price discrimination example, we have car salesmen negotiating prices on your cars. So they're trying to find the maximum price you would be able to pay for that car. And so this really just ruins your consumer surplus, because say you want to pay $30,000 for a car, but you're willing to pay $35,000. If you pay those $30,000, you'd have a surplus of $5,000, but that salesman wants to sell it to you at $35,000, eventually reducing your surplus. And so by doing this to every person that comes into the car salesman shop, it creates a perfect price discrimination. Anyways, that's my video. I hope you guys had a good time learning. I'll see you later.